Ooh, what's going on YouTube? Blaze Shadowthorn here. We're back again, once again, Wi-Fi battle, you know the drill. This one's against MootyPwns, you know, the YouTuber, channel link down in the description below. Looking over at my team, kind of a weird team that I threw together. It actually is probably the most balanced team I've ever built my entire life, which definitely says something about my team building. As you can see here, both the Latios and the Chandelure, both are choice, but they're both weak to Ghost, which is why I have a Bishop to deal with my Ghost weakness. I would have a ground weakness in the form of my Chandelure and my Bishop, but I have two levitating Pokemon, not to mention a Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn and my Lodic actually form a very nice defensive core, and my Lodic is actually the Coil set, which it does a little bit of work in this match, as you will see, so that's sort of that. But one thing about this thing is actually I misgened the Bishop. I gave it pressure instead of Defiant. It should be Defiant. I have since rectified that mistake, but I thought it was pressure. Actually, I thought it was Defiant. She thought it was Defiant. So all this game, you know, we were playing around with the mindset that I was Defiant. But getting right into the battle, I just opted to go for an Energy Ball right off the bat. I just wanted to see how much damage it would do. And I wasn't entirely sure if she wanted to switch out into Ferrothorn or not, if she would make that play or not. I don't actually have Hidden Power Fire. Not on this Latios. I have it on a different Latios. But she ups the Volt Switch out, that's fine by me. I can tell by the damage immediately that it is a specially defensive one. I did have a calc open for this battle, which helped me out tremendously. Honestly, I thought she'd go for Rocks here, because looking at her team, I honestly thought it was going to be a defensive Landorus. But it goes for a knockoff instead. I can, and just because that is knockoff, I just assume it's Scarfed, because if it's not defensive, it's obviously Scarfed. That's the only Landorus set that ever runs, that ever exists in the entire world of Landorses, are defensive and Scarf. That's just OU 101, I guess. But anyways, gonna go out into the Milotic here. Actually takes a knockoff, but I set up a Coil because I figured this would be a perfect opportunity to set up a Coil. If she wanted to set up Rocks, that'd be fine by me. If she wanted to U-turn out, I would be taking negligible damage and setting up a U-turn Coil. Gonna switch out. I completely forgot she had a Ferrothorn, so I go for recovery here. Just because she stayed in, so I wasn't entirely sure what she wanted to do. Plus, I was running a little low on HP. There is a little bit of my Lodic stall in here just because Coil, you know, I have to set up and stuff. But anyways, gonna go out into the Illuminati right here just because obviously it's a Ferrothorn. Predicting Rocks, Leech Seed, something like that. She actually opts to pull cheeky double out into the Rotom. I was fine by this because I ran another Calc, and judging off the damage spit off Rotom, because I am Specs, all that fun stuff, Energy Ball will kill, and I'm pretty reasonably sure because, you know, obviously if it would be not have a lot of speed, so I was reasonably confident that I would outspeed. I do knock out the Rotom, one less thing I have to worry about. I'm gonna go back out into the Landorus right here. I'm predicting another knockoff because EQ would be way too obvious, and she went for knockoff last turn. So I do pull a switch out into Pickles. I considered going out into the Milotic again, but overall, she could just go out and do her own Ferrothorn, and there would legitimately be no reason. They would just be the same song and dance. But anyways, knocks off my Shed Shell, which is fine by me because she doesn't have anything that could possibly trap my Ferrothorn, so I am relatively safe losing. It was a useless item anyways. Gonna go on to the Miltank, as I just go for a Gyro Ball just because I want to get a bit of damage off on this. And the switching out there also confirms Scarf. Gonna go for an EQ actually on me. The EQ does absolutely pitiful damage, but it's Life Orbed too, so I kind of thought that was funny. I'm taking this opportunity to set up all over this this Miltank because honestly I don't view this thing as a threat whatsoever. It's gonna Milk Drink up and restore all of its HP, which I'm like, okay, it's a Miltank. I have things for this thing. But anyways, gonna take this opportunity to knock off its Life Orb, and that is critical later, as you will see. Now it's just going to go for an Earthquake. It's doing less damage than it did before, which is good for me. And also that also will come into play later as well. But I take this opportunity to set up Layer Spikes. And I don't want to take another Earthquake because obviously that's the only move she's ever shown me. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to go back out into Katie's nose. And get that, number one, get that Intimidate off. If she wanted to pull out an Ice Punch for some reason, I don't know why she would, but predicting that doesn't really matter. Gonna switch. Doesn't happen, and she goes out into her own Ferrothorn, which I'm assuming now is her physically defensive. Also, she has the core of a physically defensive Ferrothorn, especially defensive Rotom Wash, which does work. It's not a bad core. Could take this opportunity to set up a substitute because I was reasonably confident the switch was going to happen. And now that I'm behind a substitute, I can start setting up sword stances. And when I set up sword stances with Katie's nose, something dies normally. Normally something dies. You know, there is that one exception where it just doesn't do anything, but 9 times out of 10, something dies. So anyways, gonna go for a gyro ball here, break my substitute. I was really hoping it wouldn't break my substitute because, like I said before, I don't have a lot of speed investment. I believe I have 44. Or somewhere in the ballpark of a 44 speed, so not a whole lot, but just enough to outspeed certain things. But anyways, it does because Ferrothorn has like base 20 speed or something like that, probably running relaxed nature and 0 speed I've used as well. So anyways, I go for the an extra sword stance just because I wanted to kill it, and I wasn't sure how much damage a gyro ball would do, but I knew it wouldn't knock me out. And it doesn't, so I'm going to go for the nice +4 Earthquake on this defensive Ferrothorn, and that is just going to easily knock it out, so I don't have to worry about this Ferrothorn anymore, which leaves my Milotic open to the potential of sweeping later on. But unfortunately, the Latios is going to come in here. Latios is going to drop a Draco on my face, and no way I would outspeed because obviously I don't have enough speed investment. And I'm not Scarfed, and Latios naturally outspeeds me. Gets a crit. With this Draco, crit didn't matter. I mean, under normal situations with the amount of special defense I would have been able to live it, but I was at a lower range of HP, so I honestly don't think the crit mattered. Plus it was Life Orb, stuff like that. Stab. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. Anyways, gonna go on to Dio Sharp, and right here, it's like, I have pressure. Oh, okay. Actually gonna go for Hidden Power Fire. I actually predicted the defog right here because she does have, I have a layer of spikes up, I have a layer of stealth rocks up. That would be very beneficial for her to defog right there, but she doesn't. Instead opts to go for Hidden Power Fire. That would have probably OK'd me if she didn't have the -2 from the Draco. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with that. Right here, I make a kind of bit of a misplay that doesn't really matter in the long run, but still is I actually sack off this Bisharp because I completely forgot how fast Miltank was. Like, Miltank is like Perugly. You look at it and you don't think speed, but it has speed. Anyways, gonna go for another Earthquake. So I'm beginning to think that the only 2 moves it has is Earthquake. So I'm like, okay, this thing just has Earthquake. That's incredibly strange, but I question not this method of a Miltank. So it reveals the double edge here, and I'm like, oh, okay, it has double edge. And like I said before, if it was Life Orb, the next double hedge would have been able to take me out, even with the coil, because obviously it's an extra 1.3 damage it would have dealt for this one, and an extra on 1.3% for the next one, so that would have been able to knock me out. But fortunately for me, I did knock off its Life Orb, which means I'm able to play the little bit of a recover game, a little bit of a stall game. I really don't like stall, because I feel like whenever I play stall, I end up losing just because I lose focus after a while. So I don't want to drag this out too long, but I do want to bring this to a point where I can sweep. So set up another coil. So now I'm at +2 attack, +2 defense, +2 accuracy. I am max HP, max special defense. So sort of like once I get up enough coils, it's sort of like this thing can never die. Again, I probably could have gone and should have gone for the recover there, but I was like, nah, I just want to kill this thing. Get a crit. Crit might have mattered, but once again, it's a Milotic and stuff like that. Anyways, gonna go out into the bird Jesus himself, the Mega Pidgeot, and that thing's gonna Mega Evolve, and that's fine by me. I really don't mind this thing. Again, I really don't view it as a threat because I am max HP, max special defense Milotic. Gonna go for the Hurricane. That is actually going to be doing a lot of damage to me, and unfortunately for her, it does not knock me out. As you will see later, it does have a signature special move up its sleeve that definitely, I'm not gonna say it's game changing, but it's kind of interesting. Right here, unfortunately, the amount of damage the Hurricane's doing is forcing me to be cautious and just recovering because I really want this thing to do stuff, because I feel like Coil Milotic has the potential to do work. But it's one of those things where you have to set it up first. And right there, I don't recover, which I could have, but I don't. And it pulls out Hyper Beam, which I'm like, okay, cool, Hyper Beam, not bad. And Hyper Beam will be able to knock out the Milotic, so it dies, which is sad and all that fun stuff. But, you know, it did what it was kind of supposed to do, so. Anyways, I see this as a free switch out into the Illuminati, and just because it's recharging, just go for a Flamethrower. I know she has that Landorus left, but I wasn't entirely sure what it was going to do. Like, again, I thought it was Scarf, but I wasn't sure, like, how much defense, how much attack investment it has, whatever. Gonna go out into the landers now. With the stealth rock damage really doesn't matter too much. Intimidate obviously doesn't matter. Just gonna EQ right me. So it's gonna come right down to the wire because the only Pokemon I have left is my Ferrothorn. And it took a lot of damage from the Miltank, which wore it down significantly. But it is at, you know, the medium-ish yellow. It's gonna go for an EQ. The moment of truth. Will this EQ kill me? And it doesn't. I am able to live on 11 HP. Gonna go for the Gyro Ball. Gyro Ball is going to be able to knock out the Landers at the range of HP that it is at, leaving me with the very narrow 1-0 victory in my favor. So hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, all that fun stuff. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.